My brothers, I have an activity that can help heal your mind, body, and spirit. It requires no special equipment and is completely free. That means no gym membership, no expensive supplements, no fancy technology. I'm talking about fasting. For thousands of years, warriors, prophets, priests, and philosophers used fasting to gain clarity, discipline, and spiritual power. But today, modern science is beginning to actually confirm something that ancient people already knew. Fasting heals. Let's talk about what fasting is, the most common types, and why a 3-day water fast might be one of the most powerful tools we can use for our physical, mental, and spiritual health. First of all, let's define what fasting is. Fasting simply means voluntarily not eating food for a certain amount of time. Sometimes people drink water during their fast. Sometimes they avoid water and food. Humans have been fasting throughout history, though. It's not new. And they've done it not just for religious purposes, but also because, particularly in prehistoric times, food scarcity was common. So our bodies actually evolved to function during long periods without food. There's no one way to fast, so let's review a few different types. Number 1, intermittent fasting. This usually means eating within a certain window of time. So one of the popular formats for intermittent fasting is to go 16 hours without eating during your day, and the remaining 8 hours is the window during which you could eat. Basically, this works out to be 1 or 2 meals a day. Many people skip their breakfast and begin eating later in the day. So for instance, what I do typically is I don't eat until about 11 a.m. every day, and I generally stop eating at about 7 or 8 p.m. There's also alternate day fasting. This is where you eat normally one day, and the next day you don't eat at all, or you eat very little. There's also extended fasting, and that's where fasting gets a little bit more deeper and more powerful. Extended fast would include a 1-day or 24-hour fast, a 2-day or 48-hour fast, and a 3-day or 72-hour fast. Now, today we're going to focus on the 72-hour or 3-day water fast. Now, you might be wondering what happens when you go without eating for an entire 3 days. And I just want to tell you, when you stop eating, your body goes through several phases. The first 24 hours you stop eating, your body uses the stored up glucose and glycogen, sugar, for energy. Your hunger kind of comes and goes. Now, around the first 24 to 48 hours, your body switches into fat burning mode, which people call ketosis. Now your body begins using stored fat as fuel, which means that this is a good way to lose weight, right? Because it's burning fat, not your sugar. And at this stage, around 24 to 48 hours of fasting, many people experience much clearer thinking, much more energy, and reduced hunger. Now, around 48 to 72 hours, we're going into your 2-day to 3 days now of not eating. Something really remarkable starts to happen inside of your body. It's a process called autophagy, and we're about to discuss that as a benefit of fasting. So let's get to some of the scientific benefits. Modern research is discovering that fasting activates several powerful biological processes. The first of which is cellular repair. Extended fasting increases what we just talked about, autophagy, which basically removes all your damaged cells and proteins that contribute to your aging and disease. This is one of the reasons that scientists are studying fasting, for its potential effects on aging, neurodegenerative diseases, and also cancer prevention and cure. Very interesting, isn't it? Number 2, extended fasting improves your insulin sensitivity. So during 2 to 3 days of fasting, your insulin levels drop and the body becomes more efficient at regulating your blood sugar. This means that fasting helps reduce type 2 diabetes and metabolic diseases. The third benefit of extended fasting is reduced inflammation. Science now shows that fasting can lower your chronic inflammation, which is linked to things like heart disease and other illnesses. The fourth benefit of extended fasting is brain function and mental clarity. During prolonged fasting, let's say 3 days of fasting, the brain begins using ketones for energy. Ketones are an extremely clean fuel source for the brain. Studies show that this shift can influence your neurotransmitters and your brain metabolism without harming your cognitive function. This is why many people during 3 days of fasting report that they can focus easier, that they're emotionally stable, that they have a great mental clarity. The fifth benefit of extended fasting is hormonal benefits. Fasting, it has been shown, increases your human growth hormone, and that hormone supports fat burning and muscle preservation. If you're doing an extended fast, this means that your body is producing more of the stuff that burns fat but doesn't burn your muscle. That means this helps make your body leaner. But look, fasting isn't just physical, it's also spiritual training, and this is also something we as men have to really step up our games on. Throughout history, fasting has been used to cultivate discipline, self-control, humility, and clarity. When you fast, you confront something that most men avoid: discomfort. You learn that hunger is temporary. You learn that your body does not control you, you control your body. And that realization builds mental toughness. Because if you can go without eating, an actual biological necessity, you become somebody who cannot be controlled or manipulated by sex, food, drugs, or money or other people's opinions. This makes you a very strong individual indeed, and that's why most of the prophets and the sages, the very wise people of ancient times, all fasted. They weren't dieting, they weren't trying to lose weight. They were purifying their minds, sharpening their intuition, becoming closer to the universe, the cosmos, or to God, and developing great internal strength. Now, let me say something that's pretty important. Extended fasting is powerful, but it's not for everyone. People with certain medical conditions, if you're taking medication, you should consult your doctor first. And fasting should not be abused. Fasting should not be used just to lose weight, to go to some event. This isn't about starving yourself. This is about intentional discipline and healing. Many men begin with 16-hour fast, and then they'll go to a 24-hour fast, and then eventually they'll try a longer fast, like a 3-day fast. Well, my brothers, we live in a culture of constant consumption. People are constantly eating, constantly talking, constantly socializing, constantly busy, always distracted. Fasting is the opposite. It forces you to slow down. During a fast, you should also be taking time to reflect, to meditate. So this is very important. Fasting reminds you that you don't need constant stimulation. Sometimes our bodies heal by not adding something, but by removing something. So if prophets and monks and wise men throughout history practice fasting, maybe there's something there worth rediscovering. Something ancient, something powerful, something that might help make us stronger, impenetrable men, upright men who cannot be moved by bribes and false promises and temptations. Now, if you found wisdom in this message, share it with another brother and encourage them to subscribe, because wisdom should never be hoarded. It should be passed on. Wise O.G. out.